Great rise. Great rise in the moonlights, beloved. You know who this is. You know who this is. And you know what it is. It's your girl, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. And it is Melanated Monday. So you all come on in here so we can have some grown up chats, okay, about our relationships. Come on in here. Let's talk about some things, okay? Let's talk about some things. There are a lot of things that need to be discussed tonight. So let's do it. Okay. Come on in. I'll give you all I always say a minute, but it's always longer than that because y'all be on a different kind of timing. But anyway, y'all come on in so we can have our conversation. The discussion, the topic is commitment or confinement. Commitment or confinement. Which one is it? Which one are you in? How do you feel about it? Come on in. Come on in. Let's chat. I think I have a lot on my mind today. A lot has happened. So y'all come on in. Let's have this conversation. Again, tonight's conversation deals with our relationship, the state of our relationships, commitment or confinement. Which one is it? Are we in commitments or are we being confined? Or are we with other people that are feeling committed or feeling confined? Either way, we got to talk about this here. Okay. We're going to have this conversation tonight. So if you need to get a pen and paper or hit the record button, whatever you need to do to get this information or to vent, to share, whatever you got to do, let's do it. We're gonna do some healing also tonight. So whoever is here, I appreciate you for being here. I'd like to know who it is so I can greet you properly. But if you feel like you want to remain anonymous, you're welcome to do so, and I appreciate you regardless. Okay, but come on in. All right, then I see you. Okay, okay. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. Hopefully, folks will come on in. Just hurry up and get in here. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get y'all to be here on time. What's going on, G Harry Greer? Thank you, loved one. I appreciate you. I gotta figure out what to do to get y'all in here on time, cause or I'm gonna have to start late, or have y'all wait on me. Whatever it is, I want to just get in, hit the conversation, and get the hell on. So we got folks coming in slowly but surely. Let me know who's there so I can greet you properly. Let me know. Again, tonight's conversation, we talking about these relationships, talking about relationships, commitment or confinement. Y'all like the relationship talk. Let me know who's here. I see y'all coming. Let me know who's here. Commitment or confinement. Yes, come on in. I think the relationship conversations are like the most popular, and we're probably going to start having a lot more of them because it's very necessary. We are approaching some things and some times that need to be very closely addressed. Asa, what's going on, loved one? Great vibrations. Appreciate you for being here. You still gone or you back? Either way, I appreciate you for being here. Y'all come on now. Come on in here. I'm so ready to have this conversation. I'm gonna wait one more minute. I'm gonna wait one more minute. And if you all want to call in and ask a question or vent or share some information, I will share that number for you as well. It's 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. Okay. All right then. Because I see you when you get back. Most high's willing. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Those of you who are here will get it. Those of you who are not won't, or you'll get it whenever you get in here. So anyway, again, tonight's conversation is confinement. I'm sorry, commitment or confinement. We're talking about the status of our relationships, the people that we choose to be in relationships with, how they view relationships, our time spent in these relationships, when to get out of these relationships. Okay. All these things are happening. And every time when I come here and talk to you about something, it's because something has occurred. Something has occurred, right? It's on my mind. But what actually occurred happened after I had already decided what the show was going to be about. So it didn't do anything. It wasn't about that. But anyway, so we're here. So, one of the reasons for this conversation, as a relationship counselor, I get to interact with both sides of the relationships. I get to hear and see what people are putting into a relationship, what they expect from it, what they really want. I get to hear it all. They tell me things that they would not or have not said to their significant or insignificant other. Um, I get to throw in my thoughts, some information, and guidance on how to address healthily the circumstance. Okay, what I have come across, and even in my own personal life, sometimes I might be a little transparent tonight. I'm just saying, there's the warning. What I have come across is that many people are in relationships with people who are not in relationships with them. I'll say that again. There are many people who are in relationships with single people who are not in relationships with them. What do you mean, Queen? I mean exactly that. They have given their energy, they have put forth their time, they have put forth all of their effort and their emotions and maybe finances, whatever the case, their support. They put forth all of these things toward the individual with whom they have in their mind established a relationship with, only to learn later that they were the only ones in this relationship, because the person with whom they were giving all of these things to was taking them and either giving them away to someone else, or in it and having no intention upon reciprocating. This happens to men and women. Okay, people get into relationships for a lot of different reasons, and sometimes people get into relationships for very selfish reasons. One of those reasons would be rebounding. Okay, when people get into relationships because they just got out of one and they don't want to be by themselves, or they want to make their ex mad, um, that's selfish. That's a bad reason. Okay, rebounding is never a good or healthy reason to get in a relationship. Some people get in relationships because they're not used to being by themselves, um, and they don't want to be. So they make sure that they are in a relationship. They're in a relationship, or at least they have a partner or two or three or five. Okay, so they make sure that they're never by themselves, so they get into relationships with multiple people. Other people get in relationships because they're looking to build. This is something they see another person as a partner. They want to build, they want to establish something, they want to grow, they want to be one, they want to be united, they want to be married, committed, whatever the terminology is that they use. This is what they want. They want to enjoy one another on a regular basis, and it's just them, or whatever their agreement is. This is what they have decided they want to do. Okay, and it's mutual. The problem comes about when, like I said, when one person has the mindset of being in a commitment, and the other person looks at commitment as being in confinement. So if you are an individual that is looking to be in a relationship, a long term relationship, a monogamous relationship, whatever, with someone, and that individual is not on the same page as you, not in the same book, even as you are going to spin your wheels. You're going to find yourself being extremely confused most of the time. You're going to find yourself hurt a lot of the time, um, a lot of chaos and confusion because you're not sharing the same thought. You're not sharing the same goal. You're not sharing the same movement. And sometimes this conversation is not had. A lot of times this conversation is not being had. Okay? Something has to happen in order to provoke the conversation. And usually that something that happens is one person gets found out, one person's true intentions or behaviors is somehow revealed. It's revealed. What's done in the dark will come out in the light. And please know that for certain. Please know. So, for all of you people, men and women who be live, that you are just the slickest of the slick, that you have thought everything over, that you are the greatest manipulator ever. You are not. Okay, everything you do will eventually be shown. Okay, the sad part is that people tend to want to manipulate and play games on the innocent. People who truly have their back, who would bend over backwards for them, who would literally give them the shirt off of their back, the food off of their plate, the money out their account, whatever, would do these things for the individual, um, only to be played. Please don't do that. One of the worst things a person can do is play with an individual's emotions, play with their feelings. And I talk about feelings all the time and F them and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to how a person has connected with another individual emotionally or spiritually, that is not something you want to play with on any level because so many things can go left. Okay? They will go left. They will not turn out good for you. Okay? And I'm not saying that, to provoke any type of violent behavior or to advocate for any type of violent behavior because I don't. The reality, however, is that depending on the person with whom you are dealing or have dealt, you never know. You never know. So anyway, getting back to the commitment or confinement, for whatever reason, and I'm gonna say our people have gotten out of the wantingness to be committed, the wantingness to be in marital relationships or just committed relationships, in monogamous relationships. And it was posed to me, or the question was asked of me a few times, if I believe in monogamy or if I believe in polygamy and all this kind of stuff, or do I think it's natural? Do I think monogamy is natural? Because everything is based on energy. So I'm gonna address it on both sides. So I understand both, okay, and I can accept both. People who are in monogamous relationships or who desire monogamous relationships, you got every right to have what you want. You have every right to do that. There's not a thing wrong with being in a monogamous relationship. That is your commitment to one person and one person only in that aspect of your relationship. What you all decide to do together, that's your business. But when you have committed to one person, then you're committing to be supportive, to be faithful, to be honest, to be protective, to be real with that individual consistently. Whatever you have said, I promise to do, or I vow to do, or I'm going to do, whatever you have agreed to do and or be in that relationship, you have an obligation to do that. You're going to be held responsible to do that. You're going to be held accountable to do those things because that person is depending on your word. That person is making moves based off of what you have said. They're making moves and or not making moves based off of what you have said. When you give somebody your word and you don't hold true to it, it causes a downward spiral, not just for you, and it's not just an inconvenience, it causes emotional issues, spiritual issues, trust issues, all kind of things. It may even cause a physical issue, financial issue, whatever. People depend on what you say. You are no more than what your word is. If you cannot stick by your word, your integrity is pretty much shit, right? And that's on men and women. So if you are agreeing to be in a committed relationship, stay committed. When you go to work, you go to your job, you're committed to going to your job every day, on time, doing the work. There's a commitment there. You have obligated yourself to do that because there is something in particular that you're looking to gain from that, right? So you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. So, in putting in the work, you will reap the benefits of putting in the work, being committed, being diligent, right? For those of you who prefer to be in a polygamous relationship, you have the right to do that. Polyamorous? Okay, well, polyamorous. More than one, okay? You have a right to do that. However, the person with whom you are engaging with, that conversation needs to be had before you start it. What's going on? We got people from Ghana in the building. That's what I'm saying. Ibrahim, you have, I don't want to mess up the rest of your name, bruh. So if you don't mind, I'm going to refer to you as Ibrahim, if that's all right for now. Shalom to you, though. Okay, I see you. I appreciate you for being here. So back to the, but that's for women, polygamy. Oh,
Polyamory is for men. It's two different things.
okay. So for those of you who just
Because polygamy is when is one man with multiple wives.
right
Polyamorous
is the
when
woman,
you're
I
in
thought.
a relationship and y'all it's like you can be in a relationship, like you can be dating
See,
somebody
I'm learning. Look,
and then they can be like, you can be a polyamorous woman, meaning that you decide to date two men, but y'all
right.
both know about
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
And
Right.
if you're in the that's what's a polyamorous, or you can be where you are in a relationship, y'all take on a third person and a fourth person.
Right.
But a polygamous is only one main person
Okay.
with multiple the same. Like one man is married to many wives. That's
Gotcha.
polygamy.
Okay.
But polyamory is the other one.
So all of that, y'all heard it. Okay. So
Michael Bay can explain that.
okay, there you go. So there you go. So for those of you who, and I'm just gonna say, who wish to be in multiple relationships, that conversation needs to be had up front.
And they do. They actually have those where they actually talk about it. They don't hide nothing.
Right, exactly.
Everything is straightforward.
It's got to be
handle it, and they're not part of that group.
That part it's got to be discussed up front, and it's about being fair. Like I said, I'm not making a judgment on either. Okay, I do understand that we operate in energy, and energy is going to attract other energies. I get it. That's why I say, if you move that way, then that's how you move. That's on you. But the right thing to do is to be honest about it up front. Give the person an opportunity to make a decision on whether or not he or she wants to be in that type of relationship. To force somebody into that type of relationship because you have failed to give them disclosure, you have failed to give them an option, is unfair. This is what I'm saying. And because people get in relationships like that, it causes so much damage. And the person who has put the other person in situations like that, don't think about it. You don't think how you are causing damage to another person. You don't think about what that other person has to go through, or the fact that now they're going to have to heal from what you put them through when it could have been a conversation. If you feel that being in a monogamous relationship is confinement to you versus just a commitment, then don't get in one. Don't pretend that you're in one. Don't act like you're in one. Don't act like you want to be in one, but have the conversation up front. This is not this is not for me. If that's what you want, I respect it. Let me back up. Let me bow down. Let me make a left so you can have what it is that you want, because I am not that individual that can give that to you. That's not where I am. You deserve to have what you want. You want what you want. Let me get out of the way so you can do that. Here's where the problem comes. Most people, men and women, don't do that because there's a thing called selfishness. Okay. You want what you want and you want what you can't have, right? That's the cake and eat it. You want all of that. You want all the cakes, all the cupcakes, all of that. Okay. But you don't want the other person to have those same options that you are practicing or that you are presenting. You don't give them the option to move the same way. That's not fair. That's not fair. The status of our relationships right now is very chaotic, it's in disarray, and it's getting to a point of being obsolete. And let's just put that word out there, obsolete. Our people in particular are being more and more disconnected from one another in relationships, particularly now than ever before. Social media is one of the one of the main causes for the distance and this distraction and disconnect in the relationships, because it has so many platforms for people to go and basically be tempted or to tempt others, to play around, to sneak and see, and whatever it is. That's just one of them. People also do what they do because that's what they do. They make a decision that I'm just going to go out here and do me and see what's available and whatever. People do what they do also because they have not healed from their previous trauma or traumas. So this is part of their trauma response. That behavior is a trauma response. And instead of dealing and healing from their trauma, they accept the trauma and just go on and say, well, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. That's not necessarily the case, though. As a counselor, I dig deeper than what is presented. A lot of times, people who have suffered some type of emotional trauma, physical trauma, spiritual trauma, whatever, sexual trauma, even, will do things to somewhat pacify their position at the time and then justify it. They'll pacify what they're doing and justify what they're doing. It's a trauma response, though. So they have gone through, let's just say, I'll use this for an example. A person who has suffered from sexual abuse, right? Sexual trauma may go into other relationships, and it doesn't mean that they're causing sexual trauma, but they may seek relationships with people who have also been sexually traumatized, or they may seek to be in relationships that are not real relationships. They may avoid sex altogether. They may be extremely promiscuous in sex. Those are just an example or examples of how people will pacify themselves from their trauma and justify it and say, well, that's just me, this is just who I am, or whatever, because they don't want to deal and or heal from the trauma. What's going on, Catrice? Haven't seen you here. Appreciate you, loved one. let me see. You say have hit up the studio and watch it. Oh, you have to hit up the studio, watch later. But really enjoyed the conversation. Bless up to you as well, loved one. I appreciate you for being here. So yeah, that's just one of the things that people deal with. So again, the state of our relationships is dwindling for so many reasons. And how I'm seeing it is because we have been so traumatized as a collective. We have been so conditioned as a collective to not address our injuries, to not talk about our injuries, and to not heal from our injuries. It's frowned upon in our community to seek help for our injuries. By injuries, I mean traumas, whatever has happened, be it emotional, spiritual, physical, financial, whatever it is. It is not acceptable in our community to get counsel, to get therapy. It's frowned upon. People will make fun of the fact that you're in therapy because somebody, quote unquote, hurt your feelings. You know what I'm saying? That's not nothing to play with. It's really nothing to play with. Okay. If you all would like to call, feel free to call in 770-906 5271 770-906-5271. I don't know if I'm going to be here the entire hour. I probably won't. I don't think this is one of those ones that require it necessarily. I said, just the state of our relationships right now is really sad. And like I said, it's to the point where it's almost obsolete. It's very rare that you see a couple that is married. Okay, not just I've been with him for 19 years. Okay, that's cute and all, but why y'all not married? Why is it, it's still kind of left out in the open, or people are in these one-sided relationships. People are in one-sided relationships. Right. The question was, why is it so hard for people to be honest? And my response would be because they choose not to be honest. It's a choice. People want what they want, and they believe that if they tell the truth about what they want, they're going to either be judged or rejected. So people are not, and I'm gonna say this like more so for men, and that's only because of the experience, the experiences. Men, contrary to popular belief, are more emotional than women, and in certain things men cannot handle and they do not recover from. If their woman goes out and cheats and he finds out about it, he may appear to be okay with it. He's not. He rarely recovers from that. Men are very um, hard and practice not being vulnerable. Okay. Honesty for a lot of men is a vulnerability. They refuse to be open because being open leaves the possibility that they will be rejected, refused some kind of way. They're going to be played some type of way, and they can't handle it. So they'd rather just live the lie, which they have at this point accepted as their own truth. They rather live the lie than um, face the possibility that they could be rejected. You got to remember, men have a particular type of ego, right? Not that women don't, but men have a particular type of ego. And when that ego is crushed, it's crushed. Okay. What's going on, DJ? Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. So, what we are discussing tonight is commitment or confinement. Seeing how people look at relationships, the state of our relationships now, we have gotten away from the monogamous relationship. We have gotten away from people being committed to one another. We've gotten away from, being married. People want to be all over the place. They want to just be, free to do, him, her, them, they, whatever at any given time. And not that that's necessarily a problem. The problem comes about when it's not being discussed ahead of time, when the person doesn't have or is not given an opportunity to make a decision on whether he or she wants to be in that type of relationship. This is where to see that a lot of us are staying away from being in committed relationships. We're staying away from being married. And like I said, for me, I what I see is because it's based on trauma. It's based on something that people have been through in other relationships of any type that they have not healed from, and they've built up a wall of defense that won't allow them to be vulnerable and open to a possibility that maybe they will be connected and can be connected to that one individual that is their one, that the Most High has absolutely assigned to them, somebody specifically for them. People have gotten away from the spirituality, the spiritual connection of being in a relationship. Is something very beautiful about knowing for absolute certain that this individual is for you, that this individual got your back no matter what, that this individual is going to support you and protect you and educate you and whatever you, elevate you, elevate you, elevate you. Okay, they're not jealous of you. They're not trying to step on your neck. They're not trying to hold you down. They're not trying to trick you. They're not trying to keep you in the closet. They're not trying to play games with you, on you, or behind your back or whatever. They're not doing none of that. I saw very briefly, I think it's Judge Toller. She just recently lost her husband, but she talked so much and in great honor about her husband, that he was the absolute most amazing man ever. And he kept his word that he was going to be that man for her till death do they part. And he kept his word. Rarely do we hear about these types of relationships. We don't hear them. It's so easy for us to, get married and get divorced in 2 weeks. Irreconcilable differences. Well, how do you know? Damn. I mean, if y'all was married for 2 weeks. People don't try. They're not patient. They want a right now relationship. If you're not doing what I need you to do right now, then you got to go. If you can't give me what I need right now, then you got to go. What happened to the work? What happened to the diligence? What happened to the commitment of it all? Things that you want that are worth having, you're going to have to put in some work. Okay? Does it have to be hard work? No, but it does have to be consistent work. That's the part we give up too quickly. We give up too quickly. If it seems like it's going to be more than what we're used to doing, if we got to put in more effort than what we've ever done, if we got to do something that we've never done before, that's too much. I ain't doing it. I quit. I'm going to do something else. I'm done. I'm good. I'm be by myself. Why? It's like we punk out. We lose the game before we start to play, says Lauren Hill, right? We lose the game before we start to play. Immediately. If y'all don't understand that this is a setup, this is something that has been designed for us to give up on each other, to keep us separated so that we can be dealt with individually. There's no strength, that we'll have nobody to run to. We'll have nobody to support us. We'll have nobody to defend us. This is a setup for real. If I separate this woman from this man and cause her to hate him and him to hate her, then I can deal with her the way I want to deal with her. I can mold her the way I want to mold her. I can create her the way I want to create her. I can get in her mind and cause her to think the way I want to cause her to think. I can do the same thing to him. I'm gonna make sure that they never get back together, because what I know for absolute certain as a destroyer of the two is while they are together, they have the power and the ability and the assignment that they can destroy me. They are more powerful together than I, but they don't know it. And I'm going to make sure that they don't know it. I'm going to keep them separated. And we fall for this trick every day, all day. We fall for the okey doke because we get into our feelings. This is why I keep saying them damn feelings are fucking us up. They're temporary. They change based on circumstances. They are distractions. It is not to say that you cannot feel, okay? It's not to say that you cannot have an emotion. Not saying that. But when you operate in your feelings, when you move in your feelings, when you think solely from your feelings, then you miss what you're supposed to get. The fact of it all is you miss it. You miss the beauty in the connection because you feel some type of way about how it's connecting. You miss that. So you take yourself out of the connection. You take yourself out of something that was destined to be. It was purposed for a reason, but you separate yourself from it because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel familiar. It's more so that it doesn't feel familiar. So I'm uncomfortable. And because I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to get out of this because I'm uncomfortable. But what you are being put in, what you are being given the opportunity to experience is something greater than what you've been through. But you cheat yourself and the person that you were given as a gift, you cheat them out of the opportunity. You cheat yourself out of the opportunity. If you would like to call, 770-906-5271 is the number. What you say, DJ? Say first, is it the correct soulmate? That part. Okay, let's talk about it. So people have a misunderstanding. Some just have never heard of the term anyway, soulmate. Okay. So a soulmate, let me do this. Soulmates are people that you are connected to spiritually. There is a spiritual connection there. There's a divine purpose for you to be with each other or in each other's lives. Okay. With that being said, you can have multiple soul mates because these soul mates make up your soul tribe. They make up your soul family. They all are assigned to you. These are your people, right? They each have a specific characteristic or a skill or a purpose or whatever that benefits the collective of your tribe. Okay. Then there's this other thing called a twin flame. Okay. The twin flame is more of the person that you are connected to, that you are supposed to be with. That is your one. That is the one that you are tied to on a more intimate level. Okay. So as far as the soulmate, you can actually when you don't overstand it, you can connect yourself intimately to a soulmate that you were not necessarily a twin flame to. Okay, because energy attracts, and you have attracted. Your energies have attracted because that's part of your family. It doesn't mean that they've attracted because you're supposed to be in an intimate relationship with them. That's not necessarily the case. But we don't study. We don't study. We don't study. We don't study. We don't study energy. We don't study self. We don't study the movements, the purpose, the word of. We don't study God. We don't study the universe. We don't study. We don't ask the right questions. We don't pay attention. We're not in tune with self. We're not in tune. We're not grounded. There's a whole lot of things that we're not, which is why we end up in things, we end up with things or in situations that we're not supposed to be with or in. So yes, a lot of times we are with the wrong soulmate in we're with the right soulmate in the wrong way. Okay? We're expecting something from this individual that is that's not what they're there for. You're connected to them, yes, but that's not what they're there for. And then sometimes you are connected, you're with your soulmate who is also your twin flame, and you may know that, but the person you're with may not have a clue. So what they're experiencing or what they feel, be since it's so different from them, it may be scary to them. So they will sabotage the whole relationship. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing with this, or except they've never experienced it before, so they find a way to get out. So they have sabotaged what was meant to be put together. So here's this too: what God puts together, let no man tear asunder, right? Not even your damn self. So what will happen if this is your soulmate and your twin flame? Even if one walks away or both walks away, if God has purposed that union to be, it is going to be. It's going to be at some point. Not now, because you all have separated when you were not supposed to be separated. Now y'all got to go through some extra unnecessary shit in order for you to come back. Now it's just going to take some more time. Okay? It's going to take more time. It's going to take more experiences. You're going to start living some karma. You're going to start getting some things back that you didn't necessarily have to have, but because you've done this, okay, well, it's a consequence to that because you did this. It may hurt. It may not hurt so much, but you're going to learn something. Okay? It's definitely going to change you. How long that change takes is up to you. It's how long it takes you to learn the lesson and stop repeating it. We repeat lessons that we have not learned, and that's on everything. Based on, or back to rather, the status of our relationships, the commitment that we have with one another has drastically dropped. It's almost to a point that it doesn't exist. I find very little couples that are that are together, that are married, that are committed, that is just them. I don't hear people say, well, we've been married for 50, 60, 70 years. No, no more. That used to be like a normal. You know what I'm saying? In our growing up, people my age, we would hear people being married for, 50 years, 60 years. That was the norm. We're expecting that. We're looking forward to experiencing that. Now, if they stay married 60 days, it's like, oh damn, well, y'all was married a long time. 60 days? This what we're doing? Because we're not ready to put in the work. We're not ready to heal from our past traumas to allow ourselves to experience something greater than what we've experienced. We're not ready to do that because it's uncomfortable. Change is always uncomfortable, but it's got to happen, and it's going to happen whether you willfully participate in it or not. It's going to happen. We often hurt our own selves by how we interact with others or how we allow others to interact with us, the types of relationships we allow ourselves to get in or stay in or accept. We know damn well what we want. We know damn well what we deserve, what we need. And yet we will settle for something less than that. Why? If the person that you're with or want to be with is a person that you're supposed to be with, then you will be. You don't have to settle. You don't have to trick yourself into believing that this is what you want when you know damn well it's not. You said my parents will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary on June 10th of this year. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. 50 years with the same person. You get to see what they've gone through, what they go through. You get to experience them in their development, in their growth. You get to see everything, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, all of that. You get to truly know that individual. But we have cheated ourselves, and we keep cheating ourselves out of that, excuse me, out of that experience. I got to drink my water. All right. We cheat ourselves. We don't want to do the work. We don't want to leave ourselves possibly vulnerable to any past experiences. Excuse me. So it's just like if a person wants to give you a gift and you have your hands closed, they can't give you a gift because your hands are closed. Because the last time you had your hands open, somebody tried to break your fingers, or somebody clipped your nails and you didn't want them clipped, or you jammed them somewhere, or somebody scratched you in your palm, whatever. So you have become defensive and say, well, that'll never happen again. So I'm going to keep my hands closed. So while you've kept your hands closed, and the individual that has something to give you that's going to be healing for you, that's going to be beneficial for you, that's going to cause you to grow, or however is going to benefit you, that individual is not able to give you the gift because you are defensive based on what you experienced before. You have blocked them from being able to bless you. You've blocked them from being able to bless you because you've decided, I'm going to hold on to my trauma. I'm going to be faithful to my trauma. I'm going to be committed to my trauma. I know what my trauma did to me. I know what my trauma's going to do. I know how I'm going to behave in my trauma. I know that my trauma is going to whoop my ass every day. I know that my trauma is going to have me in my head every day. It's going to keep me confused every day. It's going to have me fighting myself every day. I know what my trauma is going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. So even though you tell me you got a gift, it might be a joke. So I'm going to stay right here, me and my trauma. I'm not going to trust them. I'm not going to trust that you might actually be giving me a gift. You might actually be my gift. I'm not going to trust that. Okay. So now it's you and your trauma still. And then people stay in trauma so much, they don't realize that they're in an energy. And while you're in this energy of trauma and defensiveness, you are attracting that same type of energy. You are attracting more trauma. You are attracting more defensiveness. You are attracting more things that you say you don't want. You're attracting them because that's the energy that you're in. This is what you're putting out. This is what you're saying you are. You are accepting that you are your trauma. Who can help you? You don't want the help. You want to stay safe in your trauma. How? You want to stay safe in your trauma. What's going on, Phoenix? Thank you, love, for being here. I appreciate you. But this is what we do. This is what we have grown to do, what we're accustomed to doing, what we're conditioned to doing. Yes, ma'am, I am. This is what we do. Again, if you want to call in, feel free. 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. 906-5271. If you want to ask a question, um, give some information, tell about your experience, share it. 770-906-5271. Again, for those of you who are just coming in, tonight's discussion is commitment or confinement, the status of or the state of our relationships. Some people look at being in committed relationships like they're in prison. They feel like ain't no way in hell I'm doing this. I can't be with you. I can't be with one person. I can't. It feels like prison to them. Other people want to be in committed relationships. They don't have that issue. They love the one-on-one. They love the opportunity to grow and know an individual, to strengthen and support each other. And that's fine. Either way, whatever you choose is a matter of making sure that whomever you are involved with or potentially going to be involved with, that they know it. I would really like to see more of our relationships, more of our relationships stay relationships. Again, if you want to call 770-906-5271 is the call in number. 770-906-5271. I said, as a relationship counselor, it really saddens me to see that there are so many of us in particular that are not in healthy relationships. We're not in committed relationships. And we don't understand the true meaning as to why we're not. We have a caller. Great rise in the moonlights, beloved. You are live on Melanated Monday. With whom do I speak?
Oh, yes, just want to stay anonymous.
Okay, that's fine. Well, thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
Love the topic that you are talking about tonight, and definitely, especially when it comes to lying and being honest, and I think that's something, and it's hard when it's our age group of, when you're like in between, like 45 plus,
Right.
Because, for me, the line is really, it devastates you because
Right.
you realize, and a lot of people bring on their representatives in the beginning of stuff, and you don't really find out till later because
Right.
you're in a relationship with somebody for so long and only find out that they were married the entire time.
Right.
When you could have just been honest from the beginning.
Exactly.
When you're told, oh, this divorce for 4.5 years, knowing it's nothing but lie, then you discover lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And it's like, how can you live your life as a pathological liar? Does it not bother you that you devastated somebody and destroyed their life with your lies?
Right.
I just don't understand. And even I like what you were saying, a lot of it stems from selfishness, but why is it just really just so difficult to really just be open and honest? It's more so like they would say, I was afraid I would be hurt.
Exactly.
It's more like, well, then why get in something knowing that you're living a whole nother life, a
Right.
whole nother lie, and living
Right.
two lives? Like, why waste somebody's time?
Right. Right. So like those insecurities, like you said, people being afraid that they're going to be hurt. There's an insecurity there, the vulnerability. If you're afraid that you're going to be hurt, then the best thing is don't get in a relationship. Period. Because if you're afraid that you're going to be hurt and you get into a relationship, you're definitely going to hurt somebody else. That's an absolute gonna happen. If you are hurt and feel that you're going to be hurt, when you get into a relationship, you're going to cause the hurt. You are going to cause the hurt if you fear being hurt. That's what becomes your defense. I'm going to I'm going to knock you out before you think about knocking me out. I'm going to make you feel bad before you think about making me feel bad. I'm going to walk away from you before you walk away from me. Well, damn it. I didn't even have the thought of doing any of those things.
Right.
I didn't have. So when you make the truth the norm.
If we ask you a question, we can handle the truth. It's just y'all are still not answering the question. That's blaming. You're now,
Exactly.
because the tables were turned. If we did that to them, just like you were stating before, cheats on her man. The man couldn't handle it, but
Right.
but society expects a woman, especially a black woman. Yeah, we can bounce back from that. We're supposed to be strong, you know.
Right.
And then I was even told, "Oh, well, you're strong. You can handle it. I apologize." I didn't ask to be put in hell. Not
Right.
when I'm giving you heaven.
I know that. Hello, somebody. I know that's right. Yes, indeed.
That was my point.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I appreciate your point. I appreciate you calling in and sharing it. But
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. Please call in again, won't you? But yeah, that is absolutely right. We gotta get to a point, first of all, of healing individually and collectively from our generational trauma. We have to acknowledge that we have been traumatized, okay? And it's passing down generationally. We are suffering from the effects of generational trauma. If we don't heal from it, we will continue it. We will pass it on to children. I mean, most of us are probably not having any more children, but we will pass it on. It becomes a taught behavior. It is so much that, and people don't understand this. Trauma, and I've said it, trauma takes place in your body. It will change the whole genetic DNA structure. It changes everything. It changes your DNA. It changes the molecular structures of things. So it becomes passed on literally through the body, literally passing on trauma in your body because uh, the genes and the cells and whatever have changed how they. It's a word for it, and I can't think of what that word is. I think it begins with a C. So if anybody knows, please let me know. But it changes how it's receiving information. So it changes the way that it's built, basically, the way it's structured. It changes all of that. Okay. And once it's changed, that's part of the code now. So now the code has been manipulated, the code has been destroyed, whatever is no longer its normal, natural, healthy self. It's been altered with trauma. So now that code is written as part of the whole structure, and now it's being passed down generationally. People don't know that. They think trauma is just an emotional thing and you'll get over it, you'll be fine. No, that's not how that works. It's in the body. We wonder why our kids come out fucked up, okay? Like they are just immediately doing some crazy shit. Like you ain't been here long enough to be doing this type of shit. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you is your genetic code. That's what's wrong. You have passed down certain things to your child. They didn't even have an opportunity to make a decision on whether they wanted to be fucked up or not. They got the fucked up gene immediately. This is what's happening. They're being born with this code that's been messed with already. It's already been traumatized. So they're born with this code in them. So as they get older, they're responding to what's in them. They can't even help it. They weren't given an opportunity to decide, do you want to be fucked up for the rest of your life or not? It was passed down. This is the gift that we've given. And we keep doing it until we make a decision to stop. Stop accepting trauma. Stop practicing trauma. Stop passing down trauma. Make the decision to heal. What's going on, Patricia? Thank you, love, for being here. Make the decision to heal. The fact that we have less committed relationships amongst us in particular hurts my heart. It's sad. But again, I have to remind you, it's on purpose. The way we think about relationships is very much on purpose. It's in us. the division very much on purpose. We're thinking about being divided. We're thinking about how we're going to play games and manipulate one another. We're thinking about it. Why? Because we have been genetically modified. We are GMOs. We have been genetically modified to think according to trauma, to think according to wickedness, to think according to what's been implanted. We are GMO. When you separate, and I'm talking about us in particular, when you separate our men from our women, the power of the two of them combined is destroyed. It cannot be used in the way it's supposed to be used. It cannot grow. It cannot manifest. It cannot cause other things to grow or manifest. It cannot make the changes in the world that are needed, that are meant for us to be able to change. It can't do that because it's been destroyed. It's been disconnected. There's a reason why we need each other. There's a reason why there's masculine and feminine. There's a reason for it, why there's man and woman. There's a reason why when two are married, when they're put together, they are now one. It's a reason for it. But again, we have been tricked. We have been tricked. But there's so many ways to be untricked. It's so many ways to be unfucked. Okay? Unfuck yourself. That's what we need to be at. Unfuck yourself. So we can stop fucking up each other. Because this is what we're doing. Our relationships are becoming obsolete. For those of you who are married in committed relationships and have been for over 10 years, over 20 years, like DJ's parents, over 50 years or 50 years this year, I commend you and I have the utmost respect. One day, maybe, I'll receive the same. Maybe. If not, I'll be okay. Nonetheless, if you want to call in, 770-906-5271. We're going to wrap this up. 770-906-5271. Tonight's discussion is commitment or confinement. Some people believe that being in a committed relationship is equal to being in jail. Perhaps you are just in the relationship with the wrong person, okay? The wrong intention, and you have not healed from the relationship or ships that you were in previously. So your thought process is based on your trauma. If you choose to not heal from your trauma, then it is what it is. You have made a decision that your trauma means more than your freedom, or your trauma means more than your relationship. Your trauma means more to you than your potential happiness. You choose trauma, that's you have a right to that. You have a right to that. Those of you who are dealing with someone that is dealing with trauma, if you're in a relationship with somebody who is dealing with trauma, please encourage them to get some help. Please encourage them and support them. Go with them if at all possible to get some help. The state of our relationships depends on healthy minds, healthy emotions. We are losing the game. Like I said, there's a reason we're supposed to be together. There's a reason for it all. Okay? All right. If there are no more questions, comments, or concerns, I'm going to give you a minute, which there were. They have to want the help. That part, absolutely. They have to want the help, and not just want the help. They have to participate in the help. They need to seek the help. So this is what I'm going to say this too, because sometimes, and as women, we'll go find the help for our mates. Don't do that. If he or she wants the help, they need to seek it for themselves. You cannot find it and bring it to them. They must go to it. Okay. So if you are one of those individuals, I know somebody, I'll call such and such for you. No, don't do it. Stop doing it. If they want the help, they will seek it for themselves and they will continue to get it. Okay. It will become part of their lifestyle. Healing is part of their lifestyle. Otherwise, there's nothing else you can do. Okay. I wish nothing but happiness and health and prosperity and wonderful, long lived relationships to all of you. Okay. Be happy. Just make sure you are being honest, not just with the person that you're with or want to be with or say you want to be with, but be honest with yourself first. There's no reason to lie to you, because if you lie to you, you will lie to everybody. Okay? Having said that, I'm done for the night. Okay? Um, yeah, I'm done. That's it. I hope you all were able to get something from this, that you were able to be edified. You may have learned something, give you something to think about. Hopefully, you have been provoked to think. If you are in a relationship that is not one um, that will cause you to grow, like I say, if you can't grow with me, you can't go with me. Okay? Make sure that you overstand and know for absolute certain your own value, your own worth. Do not settle. You can have what you want. It just may take a little bit more time and a lot more work, but be diligent. Be patient. What's for you is for you. Who's for you is for you. You do the same, love. Thank you. All right, loves. That's it for me. So, you know what it is. I love you on purpose, with purpose. And so I see you again. Peace.